Good evening, this is TCN English News Edition, and you're watching with me, Nhoy Kim Kong Sai. First, the headlines. Kotu asks central government to impose AFSPA in the 19 police stations of Imphal Valley. Says central security forces should be given more power for their own safety. Not even your grandmother can repeal CAA, says Amit Shah to Rahul Gandhi. The Committee on Tribal Unity Kotu releases a press communique yesterday, the 8th of May 2024, in regards to the safety of the Central Security Forces from the time-to-time attack upon them by the secessionist Meitei VBIGs. The Committee on Tribal Unity, Kangpokpi, in its release would like to draw the attentions of the central government, especially the Home Ministry, whereby the safety of Central Security Forces, namely the Central Reserve Police Forces CRPF, from the clutches of the secessionist Meitei VBIG terrorists and the state of Manipur remains questionable. Mention may be made that the violent attempt to divert complicity of the state and their secessionist Meitei VBIG by the incumbent Chief Minister Biren Singh and cohorts from the clandestine ambush of the CRPF at Narayan last month is a matter of grave security concern. Yet, the recent attempt to kidnap CRPF personnel posted at Makan Linsat Sitlo at Sangtipur, Kanglatongbi on the 8th of May 2024 by the Meitei militants and Arambai Tinkle is serious breach of buffer zone status quo as maintained between the geographical divide. Kotu further asks the central government and Home Ministry to impose AFSPA in all the 19 police stations within Imphal Valley immediately, so as to prevent the Central Security Forces from any political influences of the state and to recover those looted arms from the state armory. The Central Security Forces should be granted more power in order to thwart these secessionist VBIGs from disintegrating and Talibanizing the northeastern states, further reads the release. In connection to the sudden demise of one Thang Min Lal, Elias Hunter, a cadre of UKNA holding the post of CEO on the 5th of May 2024, the UKNA leaders expressed their sorrow and condolences over his death. Thang Min Lal, Elias Hunter, led an exemplary life and has shown his patriotism to his community in numerous ways. He serves the organizations with truth and honesty, and his death is a loss not only for the organizations but for the whole community as well. The organizations had investigated the incident and had accused 5 cadres of the UKNA in connections to his sudden demise. Out of the 5 offenders, 2 of them, namely one Lun Gongmang, Elias Rambo, son of Hemzang, Thingpai village More, and one Khai Min Se, Elias Pakai Kong Sai, son of Khai Min Thang of Mamung village, Lamka district, fled from their camps with their weapons. The other 3 had given self-committed statement, and the organizations had taken actions per the organization's rules. In regards to the 2 absconders, the organizations requested all other organizations to not take them in, or else such organizations shall be seen as working against UKNA and shall be treated as an enemy. In this time of war, the public is requested to refrain from carrying out such shameful activities in the future. Today at around 5:30 a.m., a hit and run cases occurred at Tedim Road, Lamka, in front of SBI main branch, and an FIR has been registered under FIR number 14105-2024 CCP PSU/S 279/338/304A IPC. The victim was identified as one Dingko Kim, Elias Bisan, 67 years, wife of Nangzatin Guiti from Rangloy Colony Old UBI or BNB. The accused fled from the scene right after hitting the victim and was riding a white Activa as per CCTV footage. Witnesses states that at the time of the incident, no one was nearby and that they witnessed the incident from a distance, due to which none of the witnesses can remember the vehicle plate number. The victim was taken to the district hospital but soon succumbed to her injuries. The victim was reported to bear injuries on her head, right arm, 7 ribs broken, and 3 broken bones in her right leg. Blood scattered all around the accident scene. The dead body underwent post-mortem in district hospital morgue. The victim, tin cooking by profession, sold miscellaneous items like dishwash, turmeric, and others at Nutia Bazaar, New Bazaar. She left behind 1 son and 3 daughters and her husband. On studying the incident, the victim was following traffic rules and walking on the right side, and that the accused had hit her as he was taking the wrong side. The police further urged all drivers to take proper side while driving to avoid further accidents. As per information given by the police, a CCTV footage showing the face of the victim is in their possession. The victim is suspected to be in his middle 20s, that is around 25 years of age. Even the vehicle number had been clearly identified by the police. So the accused is hereby informed to turn himself at Lamka police stations by tomorrow, failing which strict and stern action shall be taken over him by the Lamka police. The Kuki Youth and Students Union Dimapur Chairman Hen Kungam and Secretary Sasang Singsum made a public announcement requesting Kuki citizens coming to Dimapur town from all units of Nagaland, Assam, Manipur, and other states for various purposes like job seeking, schooling, colleges, or other purposes are requested to register themselves under KYSUD, no matter the length of their stay is. If anyone refuses to pay attention to this information, the KYSUD shall turn a blind eye if faced with certain shortcomings and situations, and shall not bear any blame or responsibilities in relation to those persons who fail to register themselves. The Kuki MP Southwest Cedar Hills KISWSH Informations and Public Secretary made a public notice in regards to the closings of roadways in Kangui to Lamka routes. Due to the unfavorable weather conditions, KISWSH had temporarily halted movement in the Kangui to Lamka route, but fortunately the weather had improved as we get more sunlight these days. Hence, the roadways will be open again starting tomorrow, the 10th of May 2024. The road will be operated by the concerned authorities between 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. and no travelers will be accessed locomotions before or after the state times for their own safety. The number of people in Myanmar forced from their homes by conflict now exceeds more than 3 million in what the United Nations has described as a bleak milestone for the country. The UN said the number displaced had surged by 50% in the last 6 months as fighting escalated between the military and armed groups trying to remove the generals who seized power in a coup in February 2021. Myanmar has this week marked a bleak milestone with more than 3 million civilians now displaced nationwide amid intensifying conflict, the Office of the UN Resident and Humanitarian Coordinator for Myanmar said in a statement on Monday. Myanmar stands at the precipice on 2024 with a deepening humanitarian crisis that has spiraled since the military takeover in February 2021 and the consequent conflicts in many parts of the country, driving record numbers of people to abandon their homes seeking safety. Of the 3 million internally displaced people, more than 90% fled as a result of the conflict triggered by the coup, the UN added. About half of the displaced are in the northwestern region of Chin, Makaway, and Sagaing, with more than 9 lakh in the southeast. About 3,56,000 people live in the western state of Rakhine, where a brutal military crackdown in 2017 prompted more than 7,50,000 mostly Muslim Rohingya to flee into neighboring Bangladesh. Myanmar was plunged into crisis when Senior General Min Aung Hlaing seized power from the elected government of Aung San Suu Kyi, which led to mass protests that evolved into an armed uprising when the military responded with brutal force. Fighting has intensified since the end of October last year when ethnic armed groups allied with anti-coup fighters launched a major offensive in northern Sant and western Rakhine states, overrunning dozens of military outposts and taking control of several key towns on the border with China. In recent weeks, the military has also been battling with ethnic Karen groups for control of Myawaddy, a major trade hub on the border with Thailand. The UN said the deepening conflict meant that some 18.6 million people in Myanmar were now in need of humanitarian assistance, 1 million more than in 2023. But it said efforts to reach those in need were being hampered by gross underfunding. It said it had so far received less than 5% of the funds it needed for humanitarian operations. With cyclone season fast approaching, additional resources are needed now to protect the most vulnerable and save lives, the statement said. Last year, UN Human Rights Chief Volker Turk accused the military of preventing safe life-saving humanitarian aid from reaching people in need by creating a web of legal, bureaucratic and financial hurdles. The generals who have been accused of launching air attacks on civilians and burning villages to the ground have ignored a 5-point peace plan that it agreed to with fellow members of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEA, in April 2021, under which it was supposed to end the violence. Nearly 5,000 people have been killed by the military since the coup, according to the Assistance Associations for Political Prisoners, which have been tracking the situations. More than 20,000 people are in detentions, while Aung San Suu Kyi is serving a combined 27-year sentence after a secret trial in a military court. Mizoram Chief Minister Laldu Oma on Wednesday expressed optimism about the central exempting the 510-kilometer-long stretch of the Indian-Myanmar border in Mizoram from being fenced, an official said. During an interactions with leaders of Zoe reunification organizations Jet Uwaro Joro in Aizol, Laldu Oma has expressed hope that the union government would not lift the existing free movement regime, FMR, with the neighboring country, the official said. Laldu Oma told Zoro members that he had discussed the matters with Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Union Home Minister Amit Shah and requested them to maintain the status quo, Aizol-based Zoe Reunifications Organization, Zoro, a Mizo group that seeks reunifications of all Tsin Kuki Mizo-Zomi tribes of India, Bangladesh and Myanmar under one administrative unit, said it will bring out peaceful rallies at Zokotar and Vapai along the India-Myanmar border on May 16 to protest the center's decision to fence the border and end the FMR. Mizo shares a 510-kilometer-long border with Myanmar's Chin state, and Mizo shares ethnic ties with the Chins. More than 34,000 people from Chin state are currently taking shelter in different parts of Mizoram, according to the State Home Department. The Chin people fled their homes following a military coup in the neighboring country in February 2021. The Mizoram government, civil society organizations, and student bodies have strongly opposed the center's decision to fence the India-Myanmar border and lift the FMR because they believe it will affect close contacts between ethnic communities of the two countries. The Mizoram Assembly had on February 28 passed a resolution opposing the center's decision to fence the India-Myanmar border and abolish the FMR. Coming to national news. Union Home Minister Amit Shah on Wednesday dared the opposition to repeal the Citizenship Amendment Act, saying not even Rahul Gandhi's grandmother can revoke the law if she comes back to earth. He claimed that opposition leaders like Rahul Gandhi and Akhilesh Yadav were against the CAA. Not even Rahul's nanny, grandmother, if she comes back to earth, can repeal CAA, Amit Shah said during a poll rally in Lakhimpur Kheri. Under PM Modi's leadership, India will grant citizenship to those minorities who have come from Pakistan and Bangladesh, he added. In March, the Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP-led central government implemented the CAA, which makes it easier for non-Muslim migrants from Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan who entered India before December 31st to get Indian citizenship. That development came 4 years after the parliament passed the law in December 2019. The notifications of the act triggered criticism from opposition leaders who claimed that the notified rules were unconstitutional, discriminatory, and violative of the secular principle of citizenship enshrined in the Constitution. During the rally in Lakhimpur, Amit Shah also claimed that the opposition would put a Babri lock on the Ram Temple in Ayodhya if they got the power. Referring to Samaswadi Party leader Ram Gopal Yadav's statement in which he has said the Ram Temple issue is beggar, useless, Shah said. Ram Gopal says the temple is useless. Remember me? Though it is not going to happen. If the opposition party comes to power, they will put a Babri Nam Katala, Babri lock at the Ram Temple. He also accused the opposition of stalling the Ram Temple issue for over 70 years. When he met Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, for the second time, he not only won the legal dispute involving the Ram Janmabhoomi, but also performed the Bhumi Puja, groundbreaking ceremony of the Ram Temple, and its Pran Pratishtha consecrations was held in January, he pointed out. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in an exclusive and candid interview with Times Group editor-in-chief Navika Kumar, vehemently refuted allegations of anti-Muslim or anti-Islam sentiment within his NDA government. With unwavering convictions, PM Modi dismissed such claims, stating, "We are not against Islam. We are not against Muslims. This is not our domain." In a wide-ranging conversation lasting 80 minutes, PM Modi addressed head-on the accusations that has swirled around his administrations, aiming to set the record straight on his government's stance towards India's diverse religious communities, accusing the opposition of fear-mongering and reaping its benefits thereof, he said. When it is about their Congress abuses, they have been spinning this narrative since Nehru era. They have always been abusing us as anti-Muslim. They used to abuse us because by putting in very little work, they would yield dividends. So, they would vilify us as anti-Muslim and then would claim they are friends of Muslims. They gained through this. That is why they created this atmosphere of fear. They were reaping benefits by fear-mongering. PM Modi further emphasized his commitment to completing all government schemes and ensuring equitable distributions among communities and religions. If 50 people need a house in a village, then all 50 must get it, not just 49. Every community and religions will be covered. It is a guarantee of social justice, a guarantee of secularism. I work in a way to ensure everybody receives everything. Assure them that this is Modi's guarantee. And in my third term, they will definitely get it. I want to work. I don't discriminate on the basis of religion, he said. PM Modi's remark comes amidst heightened debate over the contentious issue of Muslim reservations, with the PM Modi-led NDA government alleging that the opposition is pandering to minorities to bolster their electoral prospect. During various campaign rallies, PM Modi has accused the Congress-led opposition of advocating for religions-based reservations, potentially undermining existing caste-based reservations for marginalized communities like scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and other backward castes, OBC. In a rebuttal, the Congress has pointed out that during PM Modi's tenure as Chief Minister of Gujarat, approximately 70 Muslim groups were granted OBC reservation status in the state, countering claims of bias. The Central Bureau of Investigation (CBI) has arrested 4 persons in connection with their alleged involvement in the human trafficking of Indian nationals who were sent to fight in the Russian army amidst the Russia-Ukraine war, agency officials aware of the matter said on Wednesday. As per the Hindustan Times on Tuesday, the agency arrested 2 alleged recruiters, Arun and Yesudas Jr., also known as Priyan, from Trivandrum in Kerala. The other 2 alleged recruiters, Anthony Michael Ilangovant and Nisli Zobi Benson, were arrested on April 24 from Mumbai and Tamil Nadu, respectively, said officials mentioned above. Ilangovant was allegedly facilitating a co-accused, Faisal Baba, who is based in Dubai, UAE, and others based in Russia, in getting visa processing done in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, and booking air tickets for the victims to reach Russia, CBI officials said. One of the arrested accused, Benson, was allegedly working in Russia on a contract basis as a translator and was one of the core members of the network operating in Russia, facilitating the recruitment of Indian nationals into the Russian army, according to officials. Ilangovant and Bezam are currently in judicial custody. Arun and Priyan were allegedly the main recruiters of Indian nationals belonging to Kerala and Tamil Nadu for combat roles with the Russian army. Several Indians in the last few months claim they were forced to join the Russian army with the promise of fake jobs. On March 3rd, CBI has filed a case in connection with the human trafficking racket, alleging that a network running across the country was targeting youngsters by luring them with the promise of lucrative jobs abroad. In its countrywide search launched in March to arrest the alleged recruiters, the agency busted a major human trafficking network that was sending Indians to Russia after 2 Indians died on the war front. According to the agency, 35 such cases were found, and several were detained for questioning. Additionally, over rupees 50 lakh incriminating documents, electronic records like laptops, mobiles, desktops, etc. were seized. Cases were also registered against various visa consultancy firms and agents for sending young Indians to Russia in the name of lucrative jobs. According to the officials, these traffickers were allegedly operating as an organized network, luring Indian nationals through social media channels, including YouTube channels, and through their local contacts and agents for so-called highly paid jobs in Russia. The trafficked Indian nationals were then reportedly put through training in combat roles and deployed at front bases in the Russian-Ukraine war zone in Europe against their wishes, thereby putting their lives in peril, agency sources said. Coming to international news. A senior Hamas official said Tuesday that a delegation from the Pakistani group was due to leave for Gaza talks in Cairo, warning it will be Israel's last chance to release its hostages. This may be the last chance to recover the Israeli captives alive, said the official, requesting anonymity to discuss the negotiations. The officials said the Hamas negotiators had cancelled plans earlier Tuesday to travel from Doha to Cairo for negotiations after Israel's incursions across the Rafah borders crossing in southern Gaza, but that they would leave shortly for Egypt. The official warned that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's decision to invade Rafah indicated that he and his army have made the decision to let the prisoners hostages die. This will be the last chance for Netanyahu and the families of the Zionist prisoners to return their children, the official said. Otherwise, the hostages' fate will be the same as the fate of pilot Ron Arad, he said, of an Air Force navigator shot down by Lebanon in 1986. Arad was believed to have been held by Shiite groups there and is now presumed dead. According to Israeli officials, talks were due to take place later Tuesday. The new rounds of negotiations comes after Hamas announced late Monday it had accepted a ceasefire plan proposed by Egyptian and Qatari mediators. saying the ball was now in Israel's court. Despite months of subtle diplomacy, mediators have so far failed to broker a new truce like the week-long ceasefire that saw 105 hostages released last November. The Israelis among them in exchange for Palestinian prisoners held by Israel. Previous negotiations efforts had stalled in part because of Hamas' demand for a lasting ceasefire and Netanyahu's vows to crush its remaining fighters in Rafah. Hostage families have been among those pressing through repeated protests for Israel to reach a deal with Hamas to bring home the captives. On Tuesday, the hostages and missing families from said it had sent messages to the ambassadors of other governments with citizens among the captives to pressure Israel to strike a deal with Hamas for their return. This is the time to exert their influence on the Israeli government and all other parties concerned to ensure that the agreement comes through, which will finally bring our loved ones home, the message said. During the October 7 attack that sparked the brutal war in Gaza, Palestinian militants seized around 250 hostages, who included foreigners and dual nations, among them US, Thai, French, British, and Russian citizens. Hamas' October 7 attack resulted in the deaths of more than 1,170 people, mostly civilians, according to an AFP tally of Israeli officials' figures. Israel's retaliatory offensive against the group has killed at least 34,789 people in Gaza, mostly women and children, according to Hamas-run territory's health ministry. Pakistan's military said on Tuesday that a suicide bomb attack that killed 5 Chinese engineers was planned in neighboring Afghanistan, and that the bomber was also an Afghan national. The suicide bomber rammed a vehicle into a convoy of Chinese engineers working on a dam project in northwest Pakistan in March, killing 6 people. The entire attack was planned in Afghanistan. The car used in it was also prepared in Afghanistan, and the suicide bomber was also an Afghan national. Pakistan military spokesman Major General Ahmed Zarif told a news conference in Islamabad. Afghanistan's Taliban-run administration did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Kabul has previously said rising violence in Pakistan is a domestic issue for Islamabad and denied allowing the use of its territory by operatives. The Taliban are also seeking economic ties with China, the first country to formally appoint an ambassador to Kabul under the Taliban, and wish to join China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC, which is Beijing's $65 billion investment in development and infrastructure. China has stressed to the Taliban the importance of security in the region. Ahmed Zarif said 4 main suspects of the plot to target the Chinese engineers have been arrested. He added that security for 29,000 Chinese nationals in Pakistan, of which 2,500 were working on CPEC projects, and 5,500 on other development projects, was the top priority for security institutions. Relations between Pakistan and Afghanistan have surged in recent months. Islamabad says Kabul is not doing enough to tackle operative groups targeting Pakistan. Islamabad has gone as far as to say some elements in the Taliban are facilitating the Islamist operatives of Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan (TTP), which is not affiliated with the Taliban, but has long pledged loyalty to the Afghanistan-based movement. Last year, Pakistan expelled nearly 370,000 undocumented Afghan nationals, saying the majority of suicide attacks against its security forces were carried out by Afghans, a charge Kabul denied. TTP militants are using Afghanistan's territory to destabilize the security situations in Pakistan. Ahmed Zarif said, adding that TTP militants were also procuring advanced weaponry from Afghanistan to carry out the attacks. He warned that the Pakistan military will go to any extent to tackle operatives and their facilitators, adding it had previously targeted their hideouts inside Afghanistan. A recent survey by United Nations Women paints a grim picture for the women and girls of Rafah, a city in the southern Gaza Strip. The data reveals the populations already grappling with immense physical and mental strain, with 93% of women interviewed reporting feelings of insecurity even within their own homes. The survey highlighted the devastating impact of ongoing conflicts on the lives of Rafah's most vulnerable residents. The immediate risk of death and injury among Rafah's 7 lakh women and girls will increase with any ground invasions, as they have nowhere to flee the bombing and killing, warned a statement by UN Women. This alarming figure comes amidst heightened tensions in the region, as Israel pushes its assault on Rafah. On May 7, 2024, Israel's military announced that it has seized control of Palestinian side of the Rafah crossing, a crucial entry point for aid into Gaza along the Egyptian border, news channel CNN reported. According to a Palestinian official quoted by the channel, all movement through the crossing ceased after it was taken over by Israeli tanks. The report warned that any further military escalations, particularly ground invasions, would cause this number to soar, leading to a significant increase in casualties and a deeper descent into despair. Rafah is the site of the Rafah border crossing, the sole crossing point between Egypt and the Gaza Strip, at its southernmost point. The city's population has ballooned in recent months, with an estimated 7 lakh women and girls now residing there due to massive bombardment and ground assaults in Gaza City and Khan Yunis by Israel. By February 2024, roughly 2/3 of Gaza's population, or 1.4 million people, have been forcibly displaced from other parts of the territory into Rafah, according to NPR. On February 8, 2024, Norwegian Refugee Council warned that Israel's military operations in Rafah would be fatal for displaced civilians and humanitarian aid. The UN Women report underscored the precarious state of health for many women. Over half, 51% of those surveyed reported experiences medical conditions requiring urgent attention since the most recent escalations. However, a staggering 62% stated that their inability to afford necessary medical care, the mental health consequences are equally concerning. The survey reveals a widespread sense of despair, with over 80% of women reporting feelings of depression, sleep disturbances, heightened anxiety, and nightmares plague over 2/3 of the women surveyed. Women and girls in Rafah, as in the rest of Gaza, are in a state of constant despair and fear already. A ground invasions would be an unbearable escalation that risks killing thousands of more civilians and forcing hundreds of thousands to flee again. We must protect civilians. We need an immediate ceasefire and unimpeded and safe humanitarian and distributions across all Gaza. The need for peace has never been more urgent. This is our only hope, said Sima Bahous, UN Women Executive Director, said in the statement. The report called for immediate actions from the international community to address the dire situations in Rafah. This includes ensuring the protections of civilians, particularly women and girls, during any further military operations. Additionally, it emphasized the need for increased humanitarian aid to deliver essential medical care and support services. That's all from us tonight, and we thank you for joining our program.